Mm, well, I don't want this. Hmm. Hmm. Well, hmm. Okay. Just, hmm.
Not living up to the Constitution that he swore he would is the crime. Yeah, I know. But American people have short memories. 2 years, they're not going to remember this. They're going to remember the last tweet that somebody told them. He said he's still at a party, but he's never gonna, among American people, gonna be somebody that's ever gonna be elected for. Yeah.
Condemn violent domestic extremists who hope and plan to launch a civil war in America? No, not at all.
Paula, what's your last
Hello?
name?
Excuse me?
What's your last name?
Ward, W-A-R-D.
Thank you. Yvonne? Unmute yourself.
Yep, I did.
What's your last name?
Knight, K-N-I-G-H-T.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I still have the paperwork that I printed out about a month ago and haven't dropped off yet, so. But I'm sure I paid last year.
I just want to make sure I get your right name because we're doing a drawing.
Oh, okay.
So, when you talked about, when you sent the last thing, he had that the IRA distributions are different than.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, all.
You might be muted. She may have everybody muted. You have everybody muted.
Okay.
Can't say me. Okay. Okay.
I think.
Oppose a kidnapping and potential assassination conspiracy plot against a sitting governor of one of our 50 states? Trump knew exactly what he was doing in inciting the January 6th mob. He had just seen how easily his words and actions inspired violence in Michigan. He sent a clear message to his supporters. He encouraged planning and
Can
conspiracy
somebody please mute themselves?
public officials who refused to bow down to his political will. Is there any chance Donald Trump
How do I get
was
in?
surprised by the result of his own incitement? Stuart, Tom Haines was, these are comments. Because that's what we have in common. This is. If we're gonna draw the line here, what's next? Lawmaking and violent mobs? No. Who won't get away with it? Your state capital? Back here again? What are we gonna say? All the accidents I think cast a harsh light on Trump's obvious intent. Obvious intent. His unavoidable knowledge of the consequences of his intent. The unavoidable knowledge of the consequences of his intent. And in a clear, foreseeable.
Marcia? What's your last name? Marcia?
Okay. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
I wasn't there when it said join with new videos, which just told me on. I can't figure out how. I couldn't do my name. I ain't gonna worry about it now.
iPad number 6. Connecting. Okay.
Hey, Jesse.
How is everybody?
I'm Carol. This is Carol.
Hi, Carol.
How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. No complaints. It's a little chilly here in my kitchen, but we have 2 heaters in the house. One for downstairs and one for upstairs. And my daughter's off at college and my office is upstairs. So when my wife's at work all day, we don't run. What's the point of keeping downstairs warm?
Right.
But when I have to do a Zoom, I do it here. And imagine when it's 35 degrees outside. I come down with a coat, and then right before we start, I take it off and I freeze for 6 minutes. And then thankfully today isn't so bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Good time to do some baking.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, the couple of times that I have during January used the oven. Feels great in here. My house was built in 1890, so you know how that is. No matter how much you turn up the heat, if it's really cold outside, you're heating the outdoors.
You
So
got it.
the oven always helps when we're using it. How many we got today? A few dozen?
Well, we're about 32, 33, something like that.
Cool.
That's good.
Somebody's watching The Price is Right.
I hear it.
Heavens, lots of people today.
How often do you all meet considering it's Zoom?
Is a stitch dropped in here? Are you kidding me?
How are you?
Once a month, still.
Okay. Once a month.
That must be Jesse Blunt.
Boy.
It's okay, I can say.
I don't know where this camera is.
It's right on you.
We can see you.
We can see you. Hi there.
That's too
I
bad.
have a couple of questions. I have a couple because we're doing a drawing. So there's iPad number 6. You have a name to go with you? Somebody that's labeled iPad number 6. Okay, and then there's also an iPad with a half a parentheses. I can't tell who you are.
If they take off maybe their sound is blocked.
Or video.
They should be able to hear me.
Yeah, they don't have their video on. That's why
Yeah.
we just
So
see
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all. So turn on video.
They have to do that.
Yep.
Go back to your email and look.
There we go.
There's a new face.
Here's a new face. Ooh, ugly.
Not at all.
All right, so iPad 6, iPad with a half a parentheses, and then there's one that's numbers. It starts with 598. 59899570005. iPad with a half a parentheses, and then there's one that's numbers. It starts with 598. Right. If you are one of those people, can you please identify yourself? I see you waving at me, 598. What's your name?
Got to fix audio.
Soup's ready whenever you are.
All right.
So iPad sim.
Okay, it's 1:05. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Jesse, we're 38 people right now.
Cool.
So I think I'll save our business to the end. And we'll let Jesse do his thing, and then we'll come back and circle back on a few business items. So if you all want to set your screens to speaker view, that might be better.
Is that what it's on now?
If you see a whole bunch of, if you see everybody, you're in like gallery view. But if you go up to, there's a view on mine, it's the upper right-hand corner, and you can choose speaker view.
I don't know.
So actually, I'm going to mute everybody, and then Jesse, you can unmute your, Carol, why don't you introduce Jesse?
Okay.
But I'm going to mute everybody first.
Just leave
What
it.
do you mean?
Mute all, and then, yes. Carol, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Welcome everyone to our February meeting. It's going to be a good one. We're happy to have so many on the Zoom call this time. Jesse Blanco developed a curiosity about television and the news at a young age. He has had a 19-year career as a television news anchor and worked and lived in a variety of different places in the US, where he learned to experience and understand different people and their cultures. That also included different foods, both cooking and eating. Jesse was raised in Miami with a large Cuban-American family where food, drink, music, dancing, and family were very important. With his desire to travel and explore, he is someone who is happy being curious and learning new things. He designed and developed the television show Eat It and Like It, which has been very popular since 2009. Jesse, his wife, and daughter live in the historic district of Savannah. He's been a good friend to our Bon Appetit Club and has been a presenter for us a few times. Please join me in welcoming back Jesse Blanco.
Hey, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Good. All right. Everybody's muted. Well, real quick, a huge thank you for the invite to come back and chat with you all. This is not usually how we do it. Ironically, about 6 weeks ago, right around the holidays, I was going through a bunch of old photos. One of the photos I found was a selfie that I took. It was an old phone that I found, actually plugged it in. And when it charged up, it's full of photos. And I thought, oh, let me see what's on here. And I went through it. And a couple of the photos were selfies that I took one of the times that I came over to Sun City to chat with you all. So there's always good memories, and I have them and I save them and I treasure them. So I appreciate the invite to, I could say come back, but I'm sitting in my kitchen. And we're going to have a conversation. We are going to leave some time for Q&A in a little bit. I want to make sure we get to all the questions if you have them, because I'm here to provide you with as much value as I can. And if you have any curiosities about a restaurant and I can be of service, then I'm certainly glad to do that. I think the best place to start with our chat today is with the 600-pound gorilla in the room. The reason why we're all looking at little boxes right now. It's been almost a year since the world went off its rocker and we started. We were forced to live a way of life that none of us were accustomed to, I don't think, at any rate. And we have fought our way through it. It's interesting, and everybody has their own story of where they were or how it affected them and all that stuff. But I can tell you, I want to share this tidbit about where I was the night that I thought we're in trouble. If you recall, it was March 11th, I believe, of last year when the president issued his address from the Oval Office and said, in no uncertain terms, it's going to be bad real quick. Protect yourselves and do what you got to do. And I was actually sitting in Henry Ford's master bedroom at the Ford plantation in Richmond Hill by myself, about 3 glasses of Chardonnay in, watching the president talk, saying, oh my goodness, this is bad. I had been invited to speak to a group much like yourselves at the Ford plantation, and they allowed me the honor of spending the night there. I was in this big old mansion literally this big old mansion on the marsh in Richmond Hill by myself. There was no one around. There was darkness and the stars and Jesse in this big old house with a couple of glasses of Chardonnay thinking, I'll be honest with you all, where the heck is all this going to go? What does this mean? Within a week, everything was shut down pretty much. All the sporting events were first and the restaurants and all of that stuff. And we by the end of March, I think all of us could say that we had no idea where we would be 6 months later. No one did. I didn't. No one did. I'd talk to my friend. Everything was shut down. And I'd talk to my friends like, well, I'm good for 60 days or 90 days or my savings or whatever it is. But after that, and I make a point of it because there was that absolute uncertainty when this all first started. And that meant all the businesses too. That every business, not just restaurants, but every business, we had no idea what this was going to look like on the other side. And I make a point of bringing that up first because imagine running a business and being responsible for 10, 20, 30, 50 employees. And all of a sudden, everybody's out of work and you can't pay them. And it's been a disaster for everybody. And you hear that on the news every day. You don't need me to sit here and tell you about all that. But I think it's very important to stress where these restaurants, what their starting point was, and how it applies to their recovery. Thankfully, by May, I believe it was, Savannah started to open up a little bit. I think South Carolina was doing its own thing, and there was no, coordination with everybody, and everything started to the point where I think by July, we all started thinking, okay, well, if I want to go sit outside somewhere by June, I want to go sit outside somewhere I can and eat. But a lot were closed and a lot now remain closed here in Savannah, at any rate. Some of the most popular. I was next to Back in the Day Bakery yesterday, and they have a window, no dining room, and they're doing a pop-up on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 13th. But they're baking some stuff maybe once a month, selling it through a window, and have a nice day. That's it. So it's been rough for everybody. I've spoken to so many restaurant owners who have been frustrated throughout this whole process because they get yelled at, frankly, by guests because they're either doing not enough to make the other guests feel comfortable, or sometimes they feel like they're doing too much in trying to make everybody feel comfortable. They've been put in a no-win situation, these restaurants. Absolutely no win, because everyone's threshold for pain is different. All of you, everybody here, everyone's threshold for pain is different. You could see a restaurant and go, okay, they're spread out enough. It's not too crowded. I'll go and sit here. But the person next to you might see the same restaurant and go, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this. And it's all subjective, and that's fine. But it has put these restaurants in a really, really tough spot because they cannot make everybody happy. That's literally impossible based on the example I just gave. So these guys have been doing their best. Well, I should say most of them, because I think it would be fair to say that there are some restaurateurs out there that have been pretty irresponsible about how they've operated. But the ultimately we can vote with our money and not go there. And I have not been to some places because I've walked up and gone, ooh, no, I'm not doing that. But it's been tough for them. And it was important to me as an advocate for the food scene on both sides of the Savannah River to stress that to all of you who have gone out to eat during the pandemic or whatever might be left of it. Hopefully, it'll be done by the middle, so by 2/3 into this year, we could say that we're done with it. But it was important to me to stress to all of you that these guys have it tough. Just because they're open doesn't mean that they're printing money. Takeout costs that they don't budget for have gone through the roof because everyone's doing takeout. So that means, they're not raising their prices because they'll lose business. So that means they're making less money, because if you budget for 20% of your business to be takeout and all of a sudden 75% of your business is takeout, well, you're spending far more, 55% more on napkins and boxes and all of that stuff that you don't budget for, but you're not raising your prices. So it's cutting into your bottom line. And that's happening everywhere. I had, you are all very familiar with Local Pie. You got one there in Old Town, and there's one on the island. I was talking to one of the higher ups that's involved with Local Pie, and he said that their takeout costs have tripled, but they haven't touched the price of their pizza. So it's cutting into everything that they're doing. And yeah, pizza is pretty profitable. And pizza, if you had a pizzeria when this pandemic started, you're kind of doing okay. But at the end of the day, if you're not budgeting for these costs, it's cutting into your bottom line, and it affects maybe your ability to rehire. It affects your ability to promote and grow your business or whatever it is. So there's been a really, really fine line that these restaurants have had to walk over the last 11 months that I don't think enough people understand how fine that line is. And so, I don't know if any of you have gotten upset when you've gone to a restaurant because you didn't think they were doing the right thing. Well, that's absolutely, you're right. But I would remind all of you that while there is a minority that are being knuckleheads out there, most of them are trying to do the right thing and try to do right by all of us, as well as their employees and their owners and whoever it is. So cut them a break the next time you see something, pull the manager aside and say, hey, you know what? I think this is wrong and here's why. And if he responds well, then great. And if he doesn't, you know what? I'm going across the street to have my lunch because you guys are being irresponsible. So with all of that said, we don't need to talk about pandemic anymore unless you all have questions about it later. But I figured I could pivot and talk about some new restaurants that you may or may not have heard about on both sides of the river that I think you will enjoy big time. The first of which is over in Hilton Head. And we are all familiar, obviously, with the Surge Group. They've got more restaurants, I think, than McDonald's. They're everywhere. But they have developed a new concept. It's kind of mind-blowing in that the Surge Group would be this aggressive with a farm to table concept, because we all know Surge and what they do, and they have their formulas and it works and we like it or not, as the case may be. But their popularity speaks for itself, and so many people enjoy it. But they are opening a restaurant down near Sea Pine Circle called Nectar. If you haven't heard about it, it's set to open within a few days of today is Thursday. Last I talked to Chef last weekend, they were looking at opening Monday of next week. That's not set in stone. They had some procedures to go through. But Nectar, everybody involved says they've never seen Surge put more money into being so aggressive about developing a concept. They decided to go for it in August of last year. And if you know anything about opening a restaurant, yeah, they had the space, but they had to redo it and remodel it and all that. It takes a minute especially when you got a group as large as Surge involved, where there's a lot of chiefs and even more Indians, and, decisions have to be made and all that. But Chef told me that they once the idea was kind of hatched and one of the partners ran off into his laboratory and came back with a logo and a name and a vision, and he pitched it to everybody else, and everybody else loved it and walked around the room kind of mumbling to each other, why didn't we do this sooner? But it's going to be in where Marley's used to be. Marley's, you probably know, is gone. The Little Burger Shack, which is one of my favorite burgers on the island, is still there. But next to it, that was Marley's Island Grill or whatever it was, is gone. It's now going to be Nectar. And Nectar is going to be, I hate to compare, I can't compare it to Farm Bluffton, but it's closer to Farm than it is, Skull Creek Boathouse. They are working with, I believe it's about 75 farms statewide, all throughout South Carolina, and Chef Chris and Chef Nick, who oversees the entire Surge operation. They said they zigzagged all up and down South Carolina talking to all these farmers about getting enough of their product to put on this restaurant. And what they came up with was this. I left it upstairs in my office. I'm in my kitchen right now. I wish I could show you, but it's a huge menu. It's a huge menu. It's like 3 to 5 pages of this farm to table type cuisine. And I saw the size of the menu and I asked him, I said, man, this is ambitious. He goes, yeah, but we decided to go all in, and there's going to be dishes. It's going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've got this special technique they're doing for biscuits, which they're making all in house, and they're doing a Korean style chicken and waffles. They're doing like if you're a fan of Lucky Rooster that we used to have on the island, Clayton used to do the fried chicken skins as an appetizer. They're doing those at the bar as a bar snack. You got to buy them. It's not, munchy if you're having a cocktail or something, but they are going in that direction. So imagine if you took a hat and you threw Lucky Rooster, Farm Bluffton, and let me think of another one. Let's say Skull Creek, and you threw them all in a hat and you tossed it up and you threw the concept back out onto the thing. That's what it is. I asked him, I said, you're printing these menus. A lot of times these farm to table places like Farm Bluffton, they'll make menus daily or for 2 days. And then, the third day, if they're out of red beets, well, then they change the menu and they can do it but these guys have gone forward with a book. This menu is a book. And I asked Chef, I said, well, what's going to happen if you, run out of a product? That's going to happen when you're dealing with little farmers. He goes, oh yeah, well, it's already happened in our training. I asked for, 60 pounds of, it was 10 pounds of yellow beets or red beets, and yellow beets showed up, but the menu says the other one. So somebody orders, roasted red beets and yellow shows up on the plate. Well, now you have to explain to your customer, and that's been an issue, and they haven't even opened yet. Similarly, they're getting their beef from Hunter Cattle here in Brooklet, Georgia. And he said, it's the only place we're getting beef from. He said, I'm fully prepared for us to place an order for 70 pounds of short rib to last us the week. And when the delivery gets here, it'll be only 50 because that's all this little farm has. And we'll run out by Thursday. And so by Thursday or whatever it is, we'll have to say we don't have that. I think that's good and bad in that the menu is pretty big, and that you start multiplying the number of times that you're asking for trouble if you got a popular dish and you can't handle it. But I think at the end of the day, everybody has the best of intentions before they open, but this could be pretty good. They're all talented chefs. They're all, curious. They all care about the farming community. They're all excited about doing good by all these tiny farmers and giving them another huge venue to sell their stuff. So, I haven't had a bite of their food. I think, knock on wood, if everything's going well, I might get to try some on Saturday morning for breakfast. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious to see how something as big and as cookie cutter as Surge has been, how they're going to execute this. So it's something to keep in mind going forward. And then it's really cool. They've created a little room off to the side where they're going to be selling a lot of the products that they get from the farms. Like if there's some appetizer that has a special goat cheese from whatever farm in Walterboro, well, they're going to have it there for, if you really like that goat cheese, they're going to have it there for sale, and you can purchase it through them, but from the farm yourself. So it's certainly a huge, obviously, departure from anything that Surge has done. They are aware of that. They're not trying to pretend to be anything that they're not. They're trying to take this concept and do it as well and as responsibly as they possibly can. With that said, I had a friend text me like, yeah, I don't know about that. I guess we'll see how it goes. Like, yeah, well, we can all go. And if we don't like it, then we don't go back. It's very simple. I've made a living the last 10 years on, hey, it's okay if you don't like it. Just don't poo-poo it for everybody. Yeah, I'm going to Nectar. Yeah, I don't like that place. Good for you. I'm going to Nectar. My dad used to say, that's why God invented colors. You like purple, I like red, she likes pink. Who cares? Let's all move along. So I'm make silliness out of it because of how different this is for Surge and how excited I am about it, if you can't tell. So we will see what happens with Nectar over at Sea Pine Circle if they get to open next week. So I'll be writing about it. If you don't follow on the newsletter, you should. Every Thursday it comes to your inbox. So if I get to eat Saturday, the plan is to write about it next week. And then I've already done my interview with Chef. We're going to circle back and get some video of the kitchen actually in action. So if you follow the TV show every Saturday when it airs at noon, then you'll be seeing it here soon, because we wanted to fast track it because it's so different. And those of us who have been in this area for any length of time realize how different this is. So that's a huge plug for Surge, but we'll see what happens. It's possible that we may not like it. So the other 3 restaurants, and obviously I'm not going to go into as much detail with these others as I did Surge, that I want to mention to you are here in Savannah. They're popping up like crazy. It's like popcorn over here. A lot of places that were planning to open last year waited because of the pandemic, obviously, and now they're all starting to. And it seems like every week I'm being told about 2. I get a text, "Hey, do you know about this?" or "Hey, do you know about that?" And so the other 3 are beginning with Common Thread. They opened a couple of weeks ago. Common Thread is Farm Bluffton's concept here in Savannah. And if you haven't been yet, it's a treat. It is a little over 5,000 square foot renovated home right across the street from La Scala. If you've been over here for the Italian, that big pink house, and 1 block over from Elizabeth on 37th, which there's probably more of a chance that many of you have been there. It's I can't say it's the same menu. It's not, but it's the same approach to food as that Farm does. Mostly smallish plates, but all delicious. Their chef, John Benhays, has one of the best food trucks in town already. It's called Loki here in Savannah. And Chef Brandon from Farm recognized that they had a little bit of a connection there as far as their approach to food and influences from around the world, really. And so they locked in and they have created Common Thread. It's a big old house. There's multiple rooms, multiple dining rooms. It's delicious. It's everything I ate the first night my wife and I went, and we ordered pretty much everything. And I expected it to be great because Farm is, if not my favorite, one of my top 3 in this area. So I knew it would be good, but it is. There's a tiny, tiny bar upstairs. I think it's like 6 seats across. It's very tiny, kind of like the bar at Farm Bluffton, maybe a smidge smaller, but it's upstairs in a back room. And then there's a little lounge room next to it with 2, 4, 6 seats, and then a high top there where 2 more people can sit. So 8 people can fit in that room, and you can enjoy the full menu anywhere in the house. So it's not like if you're sitting up in the lounge and you want to have a beverage and a bite, you can do that, or you can order the whole menu or all that stuff. So it's certainly a welcome addition to the food scene here. I was thinking about going back tonight, actually. I don't think that's going to happen. I got a lot of work to do before I come over to Hilton Head for this weekend for the Savor Sea Pines events. But the other one is a sandwich shop that opened right after Thanksgiving. It's called Finches, Finches. Finches is husband and wife team and their friend all became business partners and opened this little sandwich shop, a little garage. It's sandwich shop and retail. And their menu is tiny. They post it to social media every day. They might have 7 things on it, but it's all sandwiches and soups and vegan options and vegetarian options. And yesterday I had a pork belly sandwich. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. The chef used to work at Husk, Savannah. He was also at the Alita Hotel at Rhett. So he has chops. He knows what he's doing. He knows flavors and the stuff that he's creating. I don't like to use the word so much anymore because I think it kind of jumped the shark, but it's the best way to describe it as foodie food. You know, you're not going to go there and get a turkey sandwich or a meatball sub or an Italian hoagie. He said, yeah, I might do that in the summer when it's, people are coming in and getting a lot of to go and it's faster and do my spin on it or whatever. But right now he's doing in the winter, a little more hearty stuff. He's working with Auspicious Baking Company, which is exceptional bread here in Savannah, if you don't know about it already. And he's working with a farm that's actually about 5 blocks away from him. It's an urban farm. It's right there in the Thunderbolt neighborhood of Savannah. And it's wonderful. It tastes fresh. It's just absolutely delicious. So I would put the brand new he told me yesterday, 61 days old, Finch's Sandwich Shop on your list. And then finally, I wanted to touch on the big behemoth. It's hard to ignore because it is a lot of fun, and I've spent a good bit of time there because it's outdoors, frankly, on the Savannah River, the new Plant Riverside District. There are so many venues. I think they told me when they first opened that there were going to be 13 or 14. That includes the coffee shop. That includes there's a popsicle kiosk. All of that counts toward food and beverage. But as far as restaurants, off the top of my head, I think there are 4 or 5. There's Savannah's newest steakhouse. It's legit steakhouse. There's a pizzeria, Graffito's Pizza, which is very tasty. Not the best in town. Kyle Giacovino's Pizzeria Vittoria, for my money, is the best in town. There's a brand new, I just got an email this morning. They are just about to start planning the open of a new little upscale Mexican concept called the Savannah Tequila Company, I believe it is, in Plant Riverside. The chef I know was brought in from Mexico, and they're trying to do as much from scratch as they can. But there's those. Then there's a barbecue, which I'm not a huge fan of. There's a seafood that both barbecue and the seafood are facing the Savannah River. So you sit outside, and if you're sitting at the bar or there's a couple of little tables, you're like right there facing the Savannah River. Picturesque and wonderful to be outside. The food, those 2 venues. The brisket at the barbecue place is good. The rest, you can get Oysters Rockefeller, in other places. The thing is, if you haven't been to Plant Riverside yet, it's like Disney World. It's like so spectacular. It's huge. You walk inside and say, "Oh my goodness, I don't feel like I'm in Savannah." It's a sight to see. But there's 2 rooftop bars, bar/restaurants. Both have food. One is called Electric Moon, which is a significantly younger crowd, especially at night. That's where you'll see the boys chasing the cute girls and doing shots and all of that silliness that, we all may or may not have done once upon a time. But then there's one called Myrtle and Rose, and it's right next door, and it's far more, I don't like the word upscale. It's whimsical. It's beautiful. It's like decorated in ivy, and it looks like white marble. And there's a couple of TVs, and there's a bar, and the food is not bad. And it's all sweeping views of the Savannah River. I'm a big fan of Myrtle and Rose for a number of reasons. I've been to Electric Moon as well and had a good time. But Myrtle and Rose, if you haven't been, it's worth going up there with a few friends. Everything is outdoors, and on a pretty day that we're hopefully about to start getting more of than less, you can enjoy. Big fan of that. And then there's so many other things, and it makes the walk. If you're all about walking River Street, or if you haven't done it in forever, you could walk the length of River Street because this Plant Riverside is at the western end. And then, eventually, for those of you who are a little familiar with the Savannah Riverfront, there's a Marriott on the river way down on the other end. And there's a development going in on the other side of that called Eastern Wharf. It's under construction right now. It's a big old 13-story hotel going up in the middle there. Boutique hotel, the Thompson Boutique Hotel chain. The next nearest is Nashville. And they're going to have, they hired Chef Whitney Otaka out of Cumberland Island here in the Cumberland National Seashore, Grayfield Inn. You'll be hearing, if you follow everything that we share, you'll be hearing more about her next week. I spoke to her last week. But Whitney is a cookbook author. She's a great, great talent, and she's going to be opening a coastal seafood venue probably by the summer. She's going to roll into town. She told me late March, early April, and hopefully be open by June. So we will see. Hopefully the world will start, coming back to earth by summer, and we can go and enjoy that. But that's something to look forward to. I'm really excited about that. There's going to be a not a rooftop bar, but a rooftop restaurant. Her restaurant's going to be on the ground floor. There's going to be another eating venue on the roof, 13 stories up. And I laugh because I think it's the biggest building in Savannah. If it's not, there's only one other. And I thought, who's going to go eat 13 stories up in Savannah on the Savannah River? What are you going to see? There's nothing to see, except over here you'll see the ports. Over here you might see those blue tankers, and if you squint, you might see Hilton Head Island. We might wave to y'all in Sun City on this side, but there's nothing to see from up there. But I hope it's going to be beautiful. So that's going to be fun this summer. So I think as I glance over my list of things that I wanted to make sure I hit on, I have. I think we talked about 20 minutes, and I've probably gone over for it. So there's plenty there that I've given you all that can keep you busy, can keep you gaining weight, and or not, as the case may be. But there's a lot there, and so I hope you are understanding of the restaurant's situations right now, and we can start hopefully tiptoeing back into getting out to eating and liking. So with that, I think I'll open it up for questions. How about you all?
So if anybody has a question, feel free to unmute yourself. But I'm going to start. Did Lucky Rooster close for good?
Lucky Rooster is closed, and I actually spoke to Clayton last week, and he had a look in his eye. I don't know that it's coming back. I don't know. It might. He may or may not be involved, but he didn't tell me definitively. So as of February 11th that we sit here, I think the honest answer is he probably knows, but he didn't tell me, and he's one of my good friends, so I don't know.
Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jesse, what was the name of your favorite pizzeria there in Savannah? You mentioned it, but I didn't get it.
Pizzeria Vittoria. It's in Starland Yard.
Vittoria?
Vittoria, Pizzeria Vittoria.
Okay, compared to like a New York pizza here in Bluffton, or down the road from Bluffton, like hands down better? Same?
I don't think it's fair to compare a New York style pie to a real, Napolitan. That's his deal. It's smaller, and he prides himself on doing it well. He would love if you're into the intricacies of pizza and you can get some time with him. If you go in the afternoon, he'll talk your ear off about pizza. He's that passionate about it, and he does a really, really good job with it. But yeah, it's the artisan smaller pizzas, not, the kind that you like Tony Manero got 2 slices and walked down the street and it's not that.
Okay.
By the way, tell me, what is your favorite New York style on that side of the river?
I like the small ones from New York Pizza, and I get a lot of stuff on there, but I'm trying to make some at home, so I'm always looking for ideas. And my son can make a pizza that you can't believe. He puts stuff in there that I can't even think of. But I would like to try this Pizzeria Victoria.
Victoria, no C, Vittoria.
Victoria.
Vittoria. Yeah.
I got it. Thank you very much.
Starland Yard, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you, man.
Who's next?
Do you want me to talk? So anyway,
Joe?
Joe Scapoletti. So
Yes.
my friend Mike is, after we've been here maybe 2 years, and I think the food is excellent here. Pizza, it's good. But our favorite pizza place in New York is Colony or Pepe's or whatnot. But so we'll try this place and see. I think pizza is a subjective thing. It's either terrible or somebody may like it, and you got to put pizza into 2 little categories, right? Sicilian and the thin pizza and thick pizza, and
I'm a Patsy's guy. See, we already disagree.
Yeah, well, Patsy was years ago. Now they've come out just about there. A lot of these pizza places are very good now in New York. So I
grew up on Patsy's, but no, and that's just it. I was at Publix last year, And talk about how subjective something like pizza can be. I was in Publix last year and I'm waiting to check out and I hear the conversation with the two ladies behind me and I hear the food guy, the food guy. So the lady, and I hear that all the time. Not everyone talks to me and that's fine. But then the other lady gets her dander up and she's like, so you're the food guy. Yeah. Hey, how are you? She goes, so where do you go for pizza? I go, well, I like this one. And she cuts me off. She's like, I've had those. There's nothing like New Jersey. I'm like, well, you're not in New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in Savannah. You can't come here and demand it to be like that because the next thing me or anybody else who's been here any length of time is going to tell you, well, if it means that much to you, go get it over there.
Go get it right.
Enjoy what we got or don't.
Very good. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Who's next?
I don't know.
Jeannie?
Oh, yes.
Hi.
Hi. Could you tell us where we're going to go for special wonderful meals after they close the Old Fort Pub? We're heartbroken.
Yeah, you and me both. When I heard that news, I went, and I've only eaten there, 2 or 3 times over the years, similar style.
And the view.
Yeah, no, that's just it. One of my favorites, and I make no secret of it, for the view, and it's a different type of view, but I love to go eat at the Sea Pines Beach Club.
Yes.
The food is great. If it's not too hot or not too cold, you get all of that action going there. But as far as, we don't have one with the marsh view. That was just so perfect. And that's what made it what it was. I'm hopeful, and we'll see. I'm hopeful that the quarter deck, when it reopens next year, will have some of that. I think the food's going to be better. The food at the quarter deck, the last couple of times I went there, underwhelmed me significantly. But they have been focusing on improving their venues all over the property. And I can't imagine that they're going to mail in the new quarter decks menu. I think they're going to go for that Old Fort Pub type of business because the views of the sunset there from the lighthouse are magnificent. So they'd be fools not to try to really, really make this good, because the quarter deck, we all loved it for one reason or another, but it was kind of stuck in 1974. So let's hope that this becomes that replacement in spring of 22.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I just
see
have a
someone
quick
holding up an envelope. 598-995. Hi. You got to unmute your microphone. Anybody else have a question while we wait for
I just have a quick
598-995?
question.
You, where are we?
Yvonne?
Gotcha. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Jesse. By the way, I tape your show every week. So
Thank you.
I just want to know that new Surge restaurant, Nectar.
Nectar.
It's in Sea Pines.
It's not in Sea Pines. It's
not.
It's right outside. You know where the Harris Teeter is?
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
right there, where Marley's used to be.
All right. I didn't know if you had to pay the fee to get onto.
No. But you all should know, if you don't already, if you ever go eat in Sea Pines and you pay the $9 to get in there, you show them your ticket and they'll take $9 off your tab.
Oh,
every single time.
Oh, okay.
People don't realize that. Like, okay. I mean, they make you pay in case you don't go eat, but if you go in there and eat, then they'll take $9 off, so you get them for free. So that's very important to know.
Yes. Thank you.
Who's next? Jean, are you back with another question?
I had another question.
Okay.
Do any of these outdoor restaurants have heaters?
Oh boy. I think you'd have to call them and ask them, because that answer could change. I was at the beach club last Saturday for the oyster roast, and it was miserable out. And there was one heater outside, and we were sitting inside. And I said to my wife, you got to be crazy to sit out there. It was not enjoyable, but they had one heater, but I didn't see any others. So you'd have to call your restaurant before you go and say, hey, do you, I can't imagine if you don't have a patio already. I mean, it's not like it just started getting cold on the weekends in Hilton Head. You got to have some kind of protection if you had a patio all this time. So I would think most of them do.
Okay, thank you.
Jesse, we had a question. Do you put any of your videos on YouTube?
I do. And not all of them. What we did was, it's been 10 years. Last Tuesday was our 10-year anniversary. Back in August, one of my chores during the shutdown, we pulled everything off of YouTube. I left, I think, 3 videos up there. And what we were doing was putting up our whole show on YouTube. And it's usually about 18 to 20 minutes of content. Then you put in the commercials and it goes to 26, 27 minutes. But we decided when we really turned up the heat, if you will, in 21, which was always the plan once we lost the year, it's like, well, okay, it is what it is. We're going to start putting the segments individually on YouTube and divide them out by Savannah food, Hilton Head food, and the South. Because if you watch the show, you know every once in a while I pop up here, there, or wherever. This weekend we've got a segment from St. Augustine that you really want to see. But so we're going to divide them up, and so that they're all 4 to 6 minutes depending, and it makes it easier to consume. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as soon as we post one, it goes right to your inbox. And we're going to start dropping them once a week, if not twice a week, because we've got some old ones that we want to put back out there. So I would subscribe to the YouTube channel once you go there, and as soon as we post one, it'll come to you. So the answer to your question is yes.
Carolyn, did that answer your question? Carolyn Weber?
Paula, do you have a question?
Yes, I actually do.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of eggplant parmesan. I was born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island, and they have great Italian food there. Where would you get eggplant parmesan?
Probably, and I've never had hers, so I don't know if it's still on the menu. Nunzio has it, which I've not had, but I've enjoyed what I've had at Nunzio. So you might want to try there on the island, and Pomodori. I'm a huge fan of both Nunzio as well as Amanda at Pomodori. And if she has it on her menu, you could probably count on it being not only something close to authentic, like you're probably looking for, but amazing. So.
All right. Thank you. I'm writing that down. Thank you.
Tell them you didn't like it, sent you. They might buy me a glass of wine next time I'm in for dinner.
All right.
None of these places pay me, by the way. I'm not giving anybody plugs because they're advertisers. So
I have a non-food question. Pam Sanders.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. What's that golden glove over your shoulder?
It actually is a food question. You just didn't know it was.
Oh, okay.
In the summer of 2013, and those of you who watch the show see me sit right here every week, and you see that thing over my shoulder. I wrote about it a few months ago because I started getting emails. What's with the glove? What's with the glove? In the summer of 2013, we were ramping up for the first ever Savannah Food and Wine Festival, and I had been doing my thing for 2 years, and the Savannah Food and Wine Festival organizers came up with the brilliant idea of pitting me against a chef who's not here in town anymore, very, very popular Italian chef, pitting us against each other in a competition, a 3-course competition, where guests would come, they'd pay, wine pairing, the whole thing, and they would vote on which they liked best. I'm not a chef. I'm a journalist. I have never been a chef. I have worked in a restaurant for a grand total of 3 months of my life. I came at this from a curiosity standpoint. I don't claim to be an expert on anything except what I like. So they came up with this great idea of me doing a 3-course challenge against this accomplished classically trained chef. And I'm a good enough sport that I was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to get my skull crushed in, but who cares? Whatever. It's all about raising awareness. And I had enough celebrity status, if you will, that people were curious to see what I could do. And so in July of 2013, we all piled in underneath a tent here downtown Savannah. So imagine how hot it was. And we each did 3 courses for about 75 people, I want to guess. And after the appetizer and after the main course, somebody came up to me and said, "You guys are tied. The best dessert's going to win this." And I went, "Are you serious?" "Yeah, okay." And my wife, who's the baker in the house, had made a caramel flan with a raspberry coulis. And she had worked on it for a couple of months leading up to it to try to perfect it. And she had to make 75 of them. And she did.
Whoa.
And we put them out that night. And because of that dessert, we won.
Oh my.
And I beat the chef. And so I got a gold glove. He got the silver glove. And I came home. And if you can see this right here, it's my press credential for that food and wine.
Oh, okay.
Later. But that, you can't see it. Behind the computer here is my kitchen. So that thing has hung in my kitchen ever since the next day after that competition. I won, and the buzz around town, you beat him. It was
a great story.
A highlight of my career. So
that is a great
story. And then
story.
I retired undefeated. Whenever I've been asked to do a challenge after that,
done.
Nope, not doing it.
Smart guy. Good move. Thank you.
We've got another question. You unmuted your mic.
I had to go to settings and everything else.
Okay.
Pat Higgins, I think you may have alluded to this. I wanted to ask you, what would be a couple of suggestions for outdoor eating with really good food? And you sounded like you didn't approve of it because it didn't work.
Here in Savannah or over on your side of the river?
Savannah and Hilton Head.
In Savannah, outdoor, are we talking fine dining or something more on the casual side that, but good food? And we're not talking about,
better than good, really good food. Yeah.
Collins Quarter, he has 2 locations. The main one is at Oglethorpe and Bull, right in the heart of town. He revolutionized brunch in this town, and he also has one with a majority of their seating outdoors right in the middle of Forsyth Park.
Oh, really?
In Forsyth Park, there's that restaurant that's right in the middle. It's now CQ Forsyth. And so most of their seating is outdoors. And when it's beautiful on the weekends, they have concerts and everybody puts their blankets out in the park. And they have a takeout window and you can get a beverage or some food and sit in the park. And so Collins Quarter, either one has outdoor seating and very good food.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you haven't been to the Wild Dock Bar,
no,
WYLD, you should make a note of that. All of it is outdoors. There's no indoor seating, and it's out on the marsh. It's similar to a Skull Creek boathouse, but much smaller. You drive through a neighborhood. If you're driving there and you've never been, you're going to be like, where the hell did Jesse send us? There's nothing here. And you go through this traffic circle in the middle of nowhere, and you come out to the marsh, and there's this restaurant, and they do a really good job of their food, and all the seating is outdoors.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And anything in Hilton Head or no?
Well, the usual suspects, Beach Club that I just mentioned has outdoor seating. Who else do I like that's outdoor over there? I do love, there's a couple of dishes here and there. I couldn't tell you what they are, but I do love the scene at sunset at both Skull Creek, Dockside and Boathouse. I mean, I do. It's not the most gourmet food, but you know, if you want atmosphere, you know, it's good. I have enjoyed a few things that I've had there, so I have to give them a plug because that scene is tough to beat.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted more safety than atmosphere.
Yeah. Probably Beach Club over there. Yeah, Beach Club is probably going to be your best bet right now. I'm scanning the island in my head, and yeah, you know, Black Marlin. I haven't been by there in a minute. Most of their seating is outdoors, but it gets crowded there.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's threshold for pain is different. So,
yeah. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Anybody else? Joan, you awake? You with us?
One more quick question.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, it's Yvonne again.
Yeah.
I know this is mostly a seafood area, but have you ever seen a restaurant around here that serves beef Wellington?
Usually you find that around the holidays as a special anymore, or at Valentine's.
Okay.
Clayton, actually, we were talking about Lucky Rooster a minute ago. Clayton texted me back in the fall that he had the Wellington at Fraser's Tavern in Sea Pines. And I laughed and I said, was the recipe from 1962? And he said, you should try it the next time you're here. It's really good. So I haven't tried it. I don't know if it's even still on the menu. Maybe it was a holiday thing. I don't know. But Fraser's Tavern is something you might want to look into and see if they've got it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's 2:00, so.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Time flies when you're not eating, right?
So do we have one last question for Jesse before we let him go?
Thank you all for your time. Anytime, you know, follow the newsletter. You can sign up on the website. And if you've been a long-time subscriber, you know we don't give you, we don't share your information with anybody. That's the best way to get everything that we're talking about and stay in the loop. And thank you all for your support. It's been 10 years. We went out on a journey that was a hobby, and it's turned into a full-time job that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. So thank you to all of you for being here and for your continued support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jesse.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Okay, Bon Appetiers. Couple of quick things before I get to our drawing, just to keep you here. So I sent out the budget in the newsletter. So, whoops. You screen share it up here. That's not it. Yeah. Oh. Well, it was there. I don't know why it's not showing up. Here we go. Okay, you should be able to see the budget.
Yep.
So basically, you know, we're not generating a lot of income this year due to the fact that we waived our dues. So we're projecting 30 new people. Hopefully in September, we'll start being able to meet in person again.
New stuff.
Yeah. So I'm projecting 30 new members. That may be high, it may be low, but we'll find out. We're still planning on our holiday party in December. And last year we had budgeted for a new computer / camera, which we didn't do, so that's still in the budget. The 25th anniversary expo is in October, so we're budgeting some money for that. And if we have an ice cream social, maybe in the fall, there's some money in there for that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now, or you can send me an email, call me, whatever. And I will be sending out an approval via Google Docs to approve our budget in the next few days. So are there any questions right now?
Jane, Pam Sanders.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, I'm new to the club, as you know. How do we make money or raise money for the club?
Usually it's through our dues, which is $10 a person.
Okay, yeah.
And so I think last year we had, what was it, 300 and some members, close to 400. So, times $10, that's a fair amount of money.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's our main way of raising money.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well then look for an email to approve our budget. And if you have any questions between now and then, feel free to contact me. Carol, do you want to give a preview of next month's meeting and what's on the horizon?
Okay, next month we're having Carolyn, I can't think of her last name right now, with Bluffton Self-Help. She's coming to speak to us about the Bluffton Self-Help and their programs and how they run and how she got into it, that kind of thing. And at the same time, we're going to coordinate a food drive to send the items to Bluffton Self-Help. We haven't absolutely decided on how we're going to do that. I think it'd probably be somebody, maybe me or maybe a couple people with cars at a location in Sun City where you could drop off food in our cars. I mean, we talked about that. There may be a better way, I'm not sure, but we haven't really decided. So that's for March. April, we're going to have some of the SIGs groups are going to talk about what they do. And I think that'll be real interesting. So you get more information about what some of these little groups are into. And also they'll probably talk about how you can get in one if you're interested. So that's it. I don't have anything for May yet, but I'm working on it. If anybody has any good suggestions, just give me a call. And of course, I don't have anything for after summer yet, but well.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, so we are giving away a $25 gift card to Publix. So I have put all of your names in the bucket. That's why I was asking, okay, number whatever you are, I need to know your name. So here's the bucket. And the winner is Pam Sanders.
Oh, fun. Good for you.
Oh, thank you.
So Pam, if you feel comfortable giving me your address.
Oh, absolutely. 5 Ivy Court.
What was it? 5 Ivy?
You got it. Ivy Court.
Okay. And I will find you and drop it off. I'll let you know about, put it in your lower box.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jane.
Well, thank you. Okay, do we have any more questions, comments, observations before we let everybody go?
All good.
I'm
Well,
good.
thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jane. Jesse's always great.
He is. He has the
good.
best,
Thank
but
you.
I'm sure sorry to hear Lucky Rooster is closed. I only got to eat there once and I never did get the Old Fort Pub and I'm really bummed about that.
They're still open. They're still open
Two.
until- for another month or so.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ready to go indoor dining quite yet.
No, we're not either.
I know.
The old
Linda
Fort-
Hall has a question.
Yes.
Yes, Linda, go ahead.
Unmute yourself.
You want to say?
Okay.
We called
Okay.
it Fort
Thank
Pub
you.
for
Thank you. I don't know if we have time or not, but the people whose pictures are not on the screen, would we want to take a few minutes just to assist people in, I mean, they may want to conceal their facial identity. But since we're not required to wear masks here in Zoom land, I wonder if we need to assist people with using the video, finding the video button.
It's a good idea.
There's an awful lot of people who are just coming up as a name. And I believe all they have to do is go with a little video picture and hit that.
Little camera. It should have a line through it.
Camera. Looks like a camera. Gail Henderson, do you not want to be seen? You're not seen. And you also would need to unmute yourself to talk.
Oh, they're dropping off.
And I also did see.
There's Gail.
Oh, good.
There she
Good.
is.
Did you not want to be seen, or was the button an issue?
I think I just didn't have the
Well,
button.
you're not alone. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And I think I also saw Paula Ward's screen light up.
Right.
She had a
I just didn't want to.
We showed you that the internal search.
Okay.
When he looking for Vice President Pence.
Paula blipped out. I'm not even-
No, see, I'm here.
Oh,
I just
good.
chose not to be.
Oh, you chose not to. Well, that's okay.
Right.
He's
That-
in your jammies and nobody knows.
No, I'm not. I could have been, but no, I'm not.
Right, right. It's nice to be able to see.
Right. You're right.
Because you kind of put faces with voices and names and everything.
Process that provides for the peaceful.
And usually, people, whatever. I just thought that would be nice if we could assist people if they need me.
That was a nice idea, Linda.
What if he had succeeded in overturning the will of the people in our constitutional processes?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, somebody's watching.
On that happy little.
I don't know. I'm going.
Have a good day, everybody.
All righty.
Bye.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
again.
See you next
Thanks for all
month.
your work.
Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.